Hi everybody, welcome to the homestead. I am going to be sharing with you my new seed starting system and what that looks like and which seeds I'm going to start out with. And I'm so excited. It's only 17 days before spring starts. But we just had a ton of snow. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, hi, welcome back. This is a little funny story. When I ordered this, I thought it was a lot bigger than it is. So what I found out was the trays, my normal trays, will not fit on the shelves here. So I had to go to the dollar store and pick up these guys, and so that I can, put them on there, seed starting pots. So what I did is I got Joe to pick up just a few bags of this seed starting mix from Pro Mix, Canadian made. Woo woo. So what I'm going to do is just kind of show you what I invested in. And you don't have to do so much of this if you're just doing a small little garden for yourself, say in your, on your balcony with, with some pots, or just a small little, 4x4 or something like that area. But because I'm going to be starting a lot of stuff this year, which I believe that more people should be getting into growing their food lately. But anyway, that's another video. But I'm going to be planting, so there's a Canadian company called Vessi, and that's where I get my seeds from. So I'm going to be doing red onion. I'm going to be doing, well, there's 2 packs of that, and then our yellow onion, so I got 2 packs of that. I'm also going to be planting celery, and I'm also going to be planting broccoli and cauliflower. That's what I'm going to be doing today with you, and if you want to follow along, I hope you can stick around. First things first, when it comes to starting your own garden, you want to find out what your growing zone is, and what your last frost date is, and your first frost date is. In my area, which I'm a 5A, my last frost date is around May 15th. Try and find that out, and you can go on to Farmer's Almanac and you can type in your postal code if you're Canadian, or your zip code if you're American. But yeah, you go on there and just punch that in, and it'll tell you exactly what your grow zone is, and what your last frost date is, what you can plant early, what you can plant late. Like, there's all kinds of information there. I get most of my information from the almanac, and I find it pretty accurate, pretty trustworthy. Also, things that you're going to want to plant before your frost date, your last frost date. So if you're going to be doing things like I am, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, they're more of a cold weather crop, so they can handle a little bit of cold and frost. So your cabbages and things like that, I'll be doing cabbages in another video, but for now I got to get these onions started. Last year when I started my onions, they didn't do so well, and I know why. They were the little sets, and I keep seeing that more people have more success when they start their onions from seed. Currently right now in the garden there is garlic, so I'm hoping that that's going to turn out well too. They didn't go well last year, but now I feel a little bit more confident when it comes to the garlic. I spoke to the gentleman that I bought them off of, and I bought them off him the year before. Excuse me. So, and I told him what I was experiencing. So he gave me some information, and I'm glad that I opened up and talked with him and decided to go for his garlics again, and we'll see how they work out this year. So again, just try to figure out when all that stuff is for your area. And on the seed packets itself, it'll give you the length of time for growing. So this particular cauliflower says matures in 47 days. Yeah, that's my cabbage. So this actual, I'm going to be doing cabbage later, like I said, but this says 45 days. So look on the packet how many days it takes. But onions, for sure, they take quite a long time, at least 90 to 105 days, if I'm not incorrect there. But so I'm going to be starting mine 10 to 12 weeks before I can sow them in the ground. And that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let me show you what my setup is. So sorry for the sunlight in the background. I hope it's okay for you. But I purchased these heat pads, and when you're germinating your seeds, you want to make sure that they are fairly warm. Okay, do you see that right there? It says basil and broccoli and cabbage, cucumbers, all that. So it's giving me a pretty good inclination in how many days it's going to take for germination. So I thought that was pretty cool. Why do you need these? It helps speed up the germination process. I won't need these to stay on throughout the whole time. It's just for the time that they're germinated, and once they get to a good healthy start, then I can shut the heat off, and then we're good. I also So we were trying to figure out a way, Joe and I last night, to how are we going to hold these grow lights up. And I got some fishing line and I tied it to the light itself. And then we're like, okay, we need it so that we can raise it up and down. And yeah, so I decided, let's see about clothespins. That's what we did. So I'll be able to lower the grow light. One thing about grow lights too is that when you are seed starting, you want to make sure that it's low enough so that when the seeds do start coming up through, they're not going to be stretching for the light and getting all stringy and really weak. You can't get a good stalk, you can't get a good root base when that happens because they're just searching for the light. I've got a tablecloth, black tablecloth too behind me, and I'm going to be draping it over so it's not going to be confused and getting this light here. So I'm going to be draping that around here. Also, when we're sitting watching TV, it's not going to be blinding us with the UV lights. So we'll get started putting the soil in the little pots that I have, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to, because I don't have my big bucket here in the house, I'm just going to do small batches here. Okay, there goes the seal. So the thing is with seed starting soil, it's very light. There's no nutritional value really so much in the soil for the plants, because seeds when they begin, they really don't need any kind of fertilizer or anything quite yet. Most of it is usually just like a perlite or a... So it says the premium organic seed starting mix is formulated from Canadian peat moss, peat humus, cocoa fiber, perlite, lime, organic fertilizer. So they do have, yeah, well, that was that little nitrogen there, but very little. So basically, yeah, the major ingredients are usually peat moss and perlite. So what I'm going to do too is I'm going to moisten this before I put it in the little seed starting pots. I like to do that first, because when you, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've ever done this before, when you go to water it, the water sits on top, and it takes quite a while to absorb. And if you've just lightly covered the seeds, sometimes the seeds will kind of float off to the side. So anyway, feels good to get the hands in the dirt again. Spring is almost here, guys. So I'm just gonna moisten it enough that when I squeeze it, it's not going to be dripping out of my hand, okay? So just take a wooden handle or spoon or whatever and stir that in, okay? And then when you grab it, okay, too much moisture, so I'm gonna add a bit more soil to it. Because as soon as I squeezed it, it started dripping, so we don't want that. It's too wet. And just kind of break it up and make sure it's not too clumpy. There we go. So as soon as you squeeze it, whoops, making a mess here. As soon as you squeeze it, it should be not dripping. Okay. So these are 3" by 3" by 3.1 inch. And I got them this size because I knew that they would be, especially the onions anyway, will have a tall stalk, and I need enough space for the roots. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just fill these up lightly and loosely. Don't pack it down. And onions don't need to be covered all that much, so I'm going to get these filled up fairly well, right to the top there. Okay. You're probably wondering, like, why am I getting these started so soon when it's only March the 3rd? And you've got until May. Well, things like brassicas, like they're all cold weather crops, so anything that's pertaining to the cabbage family, broccoli, cauliflowers, you know, your oriental type vegetables, onions, things like that, bok choy, oh, what else? There's so many different ones, but that are considered brassicas, or being in the cabbage family. Brussels sprouts, things like that. If you're a Brussels sprouts eater, I am not. You can get them, anyway, you can get them started 10 to 12 weeks before your frost date. And as soon as you can start working the ground, which I can come that time, you know, even the, like, April, I could probably put these in, because like I said, they can handle a frost, a little bit of a frost, right? Let's see, where's my onions? So we're gonna get the red onions. Okay, so I just get some labels here. So these are the red, early reds, they're called. A red spring onion. And I'm gonna put, it says here 95-day maturity, so I'm gonna put 95. And the day that I'm doing it. So today is March 3rd. Okay, and I'm just gonna put it right on the, if it'll stick, hopefully it'll stick. I may have to tape that. These are terrible, terrible labels. So onion seeds are about the size of like a poppy seed. And what I'm going to do, because I'm also told that onions really don't have a good germination rate, so I'm probably going to put in a size like this, I'm probably going to put 5, 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the soil and I'm going to sprinkle it on top very lightly, and I'll keep going until we get to the next one. Okay, so I had Joe pick up some of these tin cookie pans to put underneath them. There, we've got some yellow I did 3 varieties of onions. We've got yellow onion frontier, red onion, and then I've got another one that I'm starting on. These light brown onions. And these ones are good for long storage. They're called, what is that? Expression. So these ones are going to mature in 105 days. The red onions, 95 days. And the typical yellow onion frontier is going to be 100 days. So unfortunately, it's the next day. I had some company that came and I had to stop what I was doing. So I've got my onions. I've got 3 varieties of onions that is under here. So I'm going to get started on my my celery seeds as well as my broccoli and cauliflower. Okay guys, so I've got 2 tray. Well, I got 1 full tray, and I got to get more of these pots to fill this one. But I've got one behind me that's completely full. So I'm going to start out on the celery right now. This needs to be started at least 10 weeks before your last frost date. It can take up to 14 days to germinate. So it's going to be a couple weeks before I see anything. I'm going to get this cauliflower. It's called Minuteman. It's supposed to be matures in 47 days. So that's going to be interesting to watch that happen. Cabbage, this is supposed to be also 45 days. That'll be interesting. I decided to pick varieties that because I've got a short window of like a grow season, short window of time, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to try ones that were going to take less time. So I'm going to be planting a lot of broccoli, a lot of cauliflower, a lot of cabbage this year because one, I am on a strict lifestyle change, a diet, and I want to make sure that I have all those types of vegetables that I can eat on my plan. And also I'm going to be doing a lot of peppers, bell peppers, so I'm going to also get them started. But I won't be able to do the peppers actually today because, like I said, I'm going to need to get more of these pots so that I can do that. So let's get this on the go here. So celery. So I've never planted celery from seed, and I've never grown celery. These are very, very small. Oh my word, look how small these guys are. Because they're going to go into these types of a pot, I'm going to really do it liberally, and then when it's time to transplant, then I'll be able to take the stronger ones and put them in the ground. So, because we won't know if all these will germinate, right? They're so tiny. Oh my word. It looks to be about 10 seeds are going in each pot here. Lord, I pray over the seeds that I plant this year. I ask that you bless them, bless the harvest. My tags also, I got these address labels and they're not sticking very well to this plastic pot, so I gotta get some masking tape and write it on there. Okay, we're gonna move on to the cabbage. This is Tierra. And like I said, this one says 45 days to maturity, better uniformity and holding ability. That's one thing I've noticed when I've grown cabbage is that it doesn't form tight like it should. It supports a dense head with a short internal core that holds well in the field. This medium-sized cabbage would make a perfect addition to your coleslaw or salad with its mild sweet flavor. That's what I was looking for. So less time to grow it, more conformity, like more form, and that I could use it in my soups, my everything. So with the cabbage, I'm probably gonna do 5 seeds. One thing too is I'm learning when is the best time to plant certain vegetables, throughout the season. So your early crops, your late crops, stuff like that. So I've kind of been studying over the winter for that. So these types of, you know, vegetables that I'm planting are ideal for kind of cooler weather because they don't necessarily like it too hot. But some plants, you know, they'll call for full sun. They like the full sun, but they don't like it, like I said, too hot. You know, soil that's, say, 21 degrees Celsius is a good beginning for these types of veggies. Let's switch this out. I gotta label it first. Okay, so I had somebody come by to get some eggs. Okay, I'm going to now do the cauliflower and the broccoli. So we've got a full tray with 21 pots in it here. So I'll split that basically in half. So this says 47 days matures, germination up to 7 days, 4 to 7 days. And transplanting should be between 21 and 25 degrees. But I do got to cover these up a little bit, so I'm just going to take some of my soil here. And you guys are not seeing anything. Sorry about that. Just put it on top. So I really hope that you're able to get a garden going this year, because I believe that everybody's going to need to take some kind of personal charge over their food supply, because as we see, there's stuff going down. And if we don't open our eyes to see what's happening with the systems, I don't want to say it, but I don't want people being left behind in a sense. And I don't mean that in a scary way, like to be scary, but I do believe that we need to take more charge over our lives. If you're in a position that you can do that, everybody's in a, I shouldn't say that, everybody's in a position to be able to do something, no matter where they're at. If they have a small little backyard, you can turn that into your food supply. You know, it's a great education for kids too, to get your kids involved, so that they don't think that only their food comes from a grocery store. It educates them on how to grow their own food. It gives them a skill, a life skill that they're going to need when they get older. There's just so many options and opportunities of growing. You could, you know, do your own grow bags, make your own grow bags. You know, they sell the grow bags in the dollar store. If you've got like a wood fence petitioning you between you and your neighbors, then build a wall garden on that fence. You can also, on Amazon, you can buy those growing towers. So many options now compared to when Grandma and Grandpa and their parents were growing food. They knew what they had to do every season in order to make sure that their food supply was stocked for the winter. And that's the mindset where I'm going for myself. I've got a sheet of paper of all the vegetables that I'm allowed on my diet plan. And I'm actually kind of using that as my go-to, as my guide to what vegetables to grow, so that I know that if it's on my sheet, I know I can eat it. And that's how I'm going about things. You know, even if you live in an apartment, you've got a balcony, you can attach the different, you can grow the garden in those the long planters, long pots, and attach them to the railing. Grow tomatoes. You get a big pot, grow your tomatoes in that. Different ideas. You don't have to have a big parcel of land and all that stuff. You can make do with what you have. Really creative on what you and your family can do together. And you all need to be on the same page too. You can't, everybody has to, be in agreement that this is the way things are going to be. Okay, so that's cauliflower. I'm going to put the rest of the seeds back in the container here. All right, broccoli. So this is Green Magic. Early and uniform. That's what I'm looking for. I really want to learn this year how to get broccoli and cauliflower and peppers I want to really learn how to take care of those. Those are my main vegetables anyway that we eat, even if I wasn't on this diet plan. And this year, actually, I'm going to try another new vegetable, which is okra. I've never I've never grown them, so that's going to be a new thing this year. Oh, I really hope that my asparagus down in the garden survived. Well, no. I didn't get a chance to cover it, and I'm not sure if we were supposed to cover it or not. I'll find out once the snow's melted. So I don't know if you guys remember one of the chickens, the newer chickens that we hatched out of the incubator. There was 3 of them, and it turns out that one of them is another rooster. That's the one that's got the bum leg. So we're gonna have to probably take care of that one, if you know what I mean. We've been noticing that it's really having a hard time walking around, and that it seems to be like twisting more than it should be. So Joe's gonna have to take care of that one so that we can amalgamate the other 2 with the girls, because they're getting big enough that we can let them in with the other girls. And then we're gonna have to put Roscoe, once it gets warmed up a little bit more, in there. Or not Roscoe, Roscoe's over there. We keep changing this one's name all the time. Reuben. So the ongoing joke now, because he lost his toes and he's only got 1 toe, Joe and I keep calling him One Toe Reuben. One Toe Reuben. Like mobster. Or Knuckles. We've been doing Knuckles too, because when he walks, his knuckles, so he's like this on the floor. And if any of you saw my last video, we were contemplating on changing the name of the channel. And if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's called You Want Me to Build What? But in there's 2 names that we're thinking about. So go check that video out and comment what you think the name should be. I wanna vote. I'm noticing a lot of the YouTubers are talking more about, you know, getting people to start growing more of their own food and things like that. I strongly believe in also supporting your local farmers and your local farmer market. You know, they're going to be doing all the hard work for you, so go to a farmer's market instead of a grocery store. The money's going to, you know, benefit that farmer, and it supports your community. So even if you can't grow a bunch of stuff, at least go to the farmers markets and support them there. Or if you're even in a position where you can buy some property, now would be the time. Okay, so I'm going to get those labeled and put over at the grow station, and I'll bring you right over. There. All right, bring you over. Okay, so the cauliflower and broccoli's down here. And this is the cabbage we just did. These are the 3 varieties of onions that I have on the top 2 shelves. So this is a light brown onion called Expression, great for storage. 105-day germination, or not germination, of maturity. This is the yellow onion, 100 days. And this is the red onion, 95 days. I did go out and buy this little light here because, well, I didn't have any other way to get the UV light on there. But anyway, so I did add that. So right now they are sitting on a heat mat for a couple weeks just to get them all germinated, and then we won't need the heat pads for much longer after that. And what else? As they grow, I will raise up the lights. This one I can't raise, but that's okay. Once it gets to this height anyway, I'm not going to need the light anyway. I'll just keep rising the light as I go. I'm thinking of getting another another shelf, an actual bigger shelf than this. I have other seeds that I want to get started. My herbals, and I got a few flowers and stuff like that. There's another cauliflower. So I'll have to get those started as well. But I got a fair amount of my herbs. And also I got to put this lid on the plants that we just did. But anyway, I've got a few more that I've got to do over the next few weeks. And I'll just take you along with me. There's the okra that I'm going to try. I'm going to get growing some parsley, some mint, some basil, rosemary, sage, chives, dill, and thyme. I love these morning glories, and then I saw this one. Isn't that beautiful? I've never seen a morning glory like that. I've seen the typical, this one, but not this one. So I can't wait to see what that looks like. So I'll get them started as well. Also, I've got my peppers. I didn't buy any pepper seeds because I have my own from last year. And last year I wanted to make sure that when I was going to plant the pepper seeds, that they were going to be from the ones that I already grew, so that I can see if that's going to make a difference. Some people have said to me you should still get pepper seeds anyways, but I've got so many pepper seeds from my garden last year that I saved that I'm bound to get a pretty good crop out of that. Anyway, that's all I got for you. I'm just getting my things started out, and I'm pretty excited about it. There's only, I think that's 20 days before first day of spring comes. So I've got cabin fever. That's what's going on. And so do the girls. The girls have cabin fever. They want to get out. It started out to be a pretty nice day today. It was in the +6 or 7. But now it's starting to drop, and it's supposed to rain come supper time. Like it's 3 o'clock now here. But it's supposed to rain, so I'm pretty sure it's going to take a lot of that snow out of here, which I do hope so, because we did get some rain yesterday. I'll show you. We got some rain yesterday, and it's turned it all into ice here at the door, but it's all so messy out. But spring will be here before we know it, and I can't wait. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next time on the next video. Be sure to, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, hit the like button on the video. If you enjoy content like this lets YouTube know that you enjoy stuff like this, and you'll see more of it. Not just me, but other channels that do homesteading and gardening and things like that, of that nature. So make sure that you do that. Share the video if you could be so kind. And again, we'll see you in the next video. Take care and God bless. Bye for now.